All right, welcome back. So last video we kind of finished up the Scirocco radiator and the Go-Autoworks intercooler. Kind of mounted, they're pretty mounted, I'd say like 80%. So today I'm gonna finish off the extra, we'll call it 10%. I wanted to add some bottom tabs to it real quick. And then after that, we'll get on some other stuff. So I designed something real quick. I'm gonna use that word loosely, but I just made a simple L, or a Z, I should say. So this would essentially go up into the radiator, and this end I was gonna riv nut into the frame. Upon looking into the frame, when I cut this off, there happens to be a already threaded hole right there. So the intention was something like this, right? This would slide up and riv nut in. I should have looked ahead of time because that's there, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Well, that's overdone. So I just did one over here, pretty simplistic. I basically just cut a piece of flat bar and ran it across. Yeah, it has a slight bend that's bent there. I'm gonna obviously cut this or round this off to make it a little bit better. And I think I'm gonna slot this a bit more or drill the hole a little bit bigger. And same with, well, this hole I can't, but that one I will. That way I can kind of play with it. But as of right now, intercooler, right, man? Okay, I'm not gonna fight, right? It's a bubble. Pretty dang center. Radiator. That can maybe get picked up on this side just a little bit. Super nitpicking, but if I take this off, and if I was to shake the intercooler on this side still moves. You can see it kind of moving that whole side. This side, same thing. The intercooler is going to move a little bit, but again, the intercooler is going to be sitting on a bumper. As far as the radiator, sucker's way more sturdy. It's like actually just pulling up on that. I'll have to repaint that. Kind of sucks, but pushing down, you can see it flexes a little bit, but it's pretty stable. I do want things to be able to move a little bit, right? When you make things like super rigid, and if it ever needs to have a little bit of flex or movement and it doesn't, well, that's how things crack or break just through vibrations and whatnot. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing over to the other side and just sort of see how much more stable this is. And if I gotta build a little Z-bracket, then so be it. Nothing fancy. I was gonna grab a saw out, but the actual like horizontal saw, but the jigsaw should do. Honestly, just cutting a quick bar here. And we're just gonna kind of drill a hole somewhere up in here. We'll end up having to flatten that out a bit, but yeah. All right, so we're just gonna kind of thread this in lightly. I know this thing's too big. Let's just see out of curiosity, if I zap this up, how unlevel it's gonna make the radiator. It's actually kind of nice as it sort of bent. Made it like a Z automatically. Might be kind of, look at that. All right, so let's see here. The other one's bolted in down there. That's up there. Those are bolted. I'm not complaining with that. So now let's just sort of mark roughly where this peg is. It is going to move ever so slightly due to the angle, but right about there. And again, I made this a little bit bigger than it needs to be so I can have like a little bit of forward and side to side motion. As you can see, right, it moves all that. Some might say it's a little crazy, but I kind of prefer that. That way, because I need to move the radiator like a little bit over side to side. It can, and the washer still covers all of it just fine. So let's put a grommet in the other side here. So basically gonna upsize it to the same size hole here. We're gonna aim for the middle again. All right, we know this is a little bit longer than it needs to be, but we'll cut off the excess. All right, so this obviously angled that way, so I'm gonna push the grommet in just this way, really. Just because. There we go. Now, I'm gonna put this in the bottom of the radiator first. That's perfect. And then, just zap it up. So that's tight. Let's view the radiator. Okay. It's now a little high on that side. Not anything that we can't work with, right? Again, that's slotted. We can always just put like a light little spacer there. We're really trying to do a lot of leveling here with a bunch of moving parts. And if you notice, that followed the same. So, all right. Just do a couple more small tweaks, cut the excess off there, and we'll end up painting this stuff. Boom, nice. And I can adjust that a little bit there by tightening or loosening that just a little bit. So let's just take that off and let's see. Oh yeah, no, this is actually a little more rigid than anticipated. I don't know if you can see, but the whole car shakes. Could probably see the hood up there maybe. Okay, well, is what it is. I know I was aiming for having a little more loose, but not the end of the world. I could probably upsize those grommets in the bottom maybe, just make it a little more loose. But might not be a terrible thing. We'll just kind of go from here and we'll see. So all right, so we still got to knock out a bunch of little things. So today I did a quick little run to O'Reilly's and we tried to make, let's show you, simple, it's a little Z. It's really simplistic, but the idea was something like this, right? So I can get an idea of what I needed. Went back there and just kind of looked, and I found this Gates hose, 22338. If you notice too, it has like a little bit of a, maybe kind of hard to see from that angle. It has like a little swoop up. Now I think what's going to be something like this. If you just notice, it's a little long, so we're gonna start by just trimming a little bit of it. See if we can get this to fit. If so, that'll be awesome. So there you go, 2, 4, 6 total cuts. You can see how much I cut off of it. I don't really care to see how long it is, but boom, look at that. That's gonna be nice. Just gotta put some clamps on it, but all right, it's all just temp installed at the current moment because I still gotta finish the manifold and stuff, but and we'll replace that's going to lower radiator hose, which is with just a generic rubber GSR lower hose, and we'll be money there. All right, so next I might as well figure out where the coolant reservoir is going to go. Looking at a bunch of stuff, there's different places people put them, yada, 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 whatever. I am going to, no one's probably going to like this move, but it is what it is. It's the most simplistic move. It'll work. It's been working. We're just going to change it up. So let's move here. So here is, there we go. Here's where the hose is going to come from. Might as well just shoot it straight across. Here is the OEM one I've kind of been using. It's a replica of the OEM one, but so I think the safest, easiest idea really is just to kind of put it over here. Wayne, August Cascades, got his over there. So I kind of got the idea real quick, like let's just do that. I went through a bunch of things. Here's just a flat piece of metal, hole in it. So essentially I'm going to kind of put it here and weld two little plates on each corner here to kind of go into this, could slide in like the factory piece. So with that being said, I'm just kind of eyeballing this to see if it would fit. So here's where the factory spot grabs it. It's just a generic little plate with a bolt hole in it again. I'm just gonna rest it against it. And let's just kind of eyeball the center. And all I'm doing is just sort of sticking this up into the groove. And you can see it's got like all this movement. So there's really, you know, a lot that can dictate the angle here. All right, so here's a little bracket. Put a weld back there, and then this one had to go across the top. Didn't design it exactly the same way, but the hole is offset on purpose. This should work. Guy goes in here. Holds it. So in theory now, I'm gonna kind of eyeball this to where, I'm gonna eyeball this basically to where when I push this in, because obviously this is like the same length as this, I need this to kind of go down and at least retain in the bracket to some extent, and maybe have the actual reservoir hit the chassis and kind of like rest on that. Just eyeballing around here. Could go down here. That might be the safer avenue there. That might be the safest spot right there. That way I can still take this off, fill it up, and this should be below the hood. It's kind of just touching those lines. A little test fit here. Flip it up like that. Just change the orientation of it ever so slightly. Hey, well, that made it way easier. Let's just double check it. We're clear here. Oh yeah, way good. And that's below this. It'll definitely clear the hood. This will just attach like that. Sweet. All right, cool. Let's do a little paint job on it now. All right, got some caliper paint now. So it's nice, fresh, and black here. Let's just, I'm gonna have to clean the reservoir tank now. This whole engine bay is gonna end up getting a good power wash after everything is done here in the winter. Okay. Yeah. There it is. Sweet. All right, let's take a little, there you can see it. And yeah, so along with what I also got now was I went and picked up a Gates lower radiator hose. It's not fully, I mean, it's on there, but no clamps and stuff yet because I'm gonna end up having to pull the radiator back out once the new manifold comes in, just make stuff easier. Yeah, and this will probably just sit something like, you know, this. I might shorten this up. We'll see. Yada, yada. All right, well. All right, this is coming to the end of this video. I'm going to put the radiator and stuff back in. It's right behind me there. So the new Go-Autoworks manifold came in. Don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I asked Greg if he could make another manifold with just a different wastegate placement to give me more room. I've got it all just mocked up. Again, engine bay super dirty, but mockup looks like. In case everyone's curious, the Scirocco has been holding just fine. You can even still see it on the downpipe there. Did wear off on the other manifold, which I'll show you. This was like a small little fire. I think some foam landed on it. Got it out. Long story, but whatever, it's done. So you can see, right, same exact manifold, just wastegate placements there. coolant lines, got ample room. Again, everything needs to be cleaned, but none of this is really fully bolted up. I only got 2 bolts in the turbo, a couple in the manifold. I mean, look at this. I could technically, Greg, I don't want to do this on purpose, man, but that's just wild. I could technically just run this just the way it is. I would probably clock this a little bit more this way to get this off. It's like just touching the transmission, but the idea is still to recirc this. Just have it kind of, honestly, this might be easier, just kind of come down and then just tie into the downpipes of the game plan. Yeah, so I got a new one of these. Greg sent me and made me. I got it instead of a 90, it's got a 45 on it, which would be a little bit nicer to go out that way. So let me just put the radiator back in so we can get a quick visual of how well this is actually going to fit. Extra clearance, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is going to be the end of the video now. I'm wrapping it up. I'm tired. And, well, it didn't go on as easy as I hoped. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but it is what it is, right? A little oversight. I'm going to show you. It's not done yet. We just got to maybe come up with some different slight ideas. And, yeah, so let me just show you. So here's what it looks like right now, top down, right? As you saw before, got lots of clearance there between the fan and the downpipe. Everything's cool. We got pretty good room in here now to mess with the coolant lines down there if we need to. I could probably, I mean, it's right here. I could probably install it, to be honest with you, which is nice. I can address it. I can address a oil fitting if I have to. Wastegate. There's the dilemma now. So that pipe I had to take off because, if you recall where it was a second ago, it's basically running right where this motor is. So I can mess with it. I'm going to put your ideas and stuff down in the comments below, but you know, I can still orient this however I want. All right, so I just reoriented this to kind of have the exit of it kind of pointing that direction. So I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but here's the dump. Obviously it's going to be cut and reshaped, but what I was experimenting with is I could technically, if I can get my hand on the other end of it here, I could technically get a clamp. If I can just show you, you get the idea, right? I could get a clamp on that, have it come out this direction, and then maybe about here-ish, right where my hand is, have a hard 90 and go straight down. I think that's something basically I'm gonna have to do. It's gonna be a weird dump tube. It's gonna have some bends in it, but overall, I think that might be how it's gonna work. We'll see. I ordered a flex tube or a flex pipe. Yeah. So I ordered a flex pipe. It's not here yet. I will obviously try to see what that is because it's gonna be a little bit bigger diameter than this actual dump tube. Unfortunately, I mean, I need it, so it is what it is, but yeah, I'm gonna end up, you know, having to see. It's gonna be a little bit tighter than I thought. It'll open, it's like basically opening up a ton of room elsewhere. It's running a full-size radiator, same fan I had, so there's no way this thing's gonna have cooling issues. Yeah. So, all right, so that's that for this video. It's a little all over the place. This is Thanksgiving weekend, or week, so I'm going to try and, I don't know, maybe do some work here and there on it. Once I get this dump tube figured out and everything, everything should be pretty smooth sailing from there. Ducting, all that stuff will be easy. Pipe's already welded, overflow's rerouted. And maybe put some coolant inside of it. I might try to shrink the wastegate. Yeah, so one last thing I am gonna do. A good friend Matt gave me a 40/40 valve. The car stops. I mean, it's so good that it can lock tires on these 245 RT660s. So the way I'm looking at it is, I've got the stock CRX SI calipers in the back, and I basically went to the Civic or the Integra sized fronts. So the 40/40, I have the same size caliper that came on the Integra in the front. So whether it gives a little more bias at the back, a little less in the front, it is what it is. It's not going to hurt anything. We're just going to throw that in there too before the track season. And I think I've said this before, but I'm really going to try to stop messing with the car when the season starts and just focus on driving. I want to know the car in and out way better than I do now, and just do maintenance, right? Like oil changes, keep up spark plug changes if need be, blah, blah, blah. Keep the engine bay clean because it is atrocious and hasn't been taking everything apart, you know, this much. It's gotten really dirty. And just get to that. Be done with this car as far as this is concerned, and maybe get to something like this on the S2000. I just finished washing her for the wintertime, but you might be able to see it. See that right there, little creases? They're not the end of the world, but check that out. Oh, there you go. It's when the tires smoked the fender on one of the events. I want to try to fix that. Maybe repaint the fenders. I don't know, we'll get there. But nonetheless, you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, things that think I'm crazy when I'm doing? I'm going to pull the exhaust. After this is all done, I'm going to pull the exhaust housing off, re-Scirocco it. I'm going to try not to put I'm going to put a blanket on it, but maybe not like a full blanket. I don't know, just something so like nothing could fall into it like it did before with that little fire thing it had down there. And this manifold, man, Greg, phenomenal. It just looks fantastic. I almost don't want to paint it so it'll look just super nice in the bay. And if I can just make a cover that wraps around this thing just to keep it, and then I've had a ton of people say, hey, why don't you enter your car in a car show or something like that? And it'd be super cool, I think, if I did do that and then just pull the exhaust like cover off, and you could see just this thing. I'll degrease it and don't touch it and let it just really bronze itself up. I think it'd look really nice in the bay. So I'm really debating on doing that. And with the extra cooling, maybe it won't matter too much. If I can get a good shield around it, I don't know. Leave what you guys think down below. And man, I thought the wastegate was gonna be a for sure, like just fit right off the bat, but not exactly, but it's close. Looking forward to it. I think Buddy Matt's gonna come over Friday. Maybe we could work our way through this a little bit. And yeah, we'll go from there. As always, I appreciate everybody for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.